Half of the newspaper review on K24 this morning. Keep your tweets coming in. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote or at K24 TV. I can see some tweets coming in. Jennifer saying yes. The only agenda right now is the BBI. Big Four tulitupilia mbali. Okay, we hear you on that. Super Louis saying failure will always blame his close joint ally on everything. You have to take responsibility, and at times the buck stops at the presidency. So right now we'll only look at him. His number two will not be on this as well. Not be on this, yes, as well. Okay, Njenga Kongo Paul, we as a nation in a very delicate state of things. The lack of political stability is causing instability economically, ethnically, and cohesively. It's incumbent on us to determine the kind of future Kenya we want and then channel our positive energies towards that direction. Okay, Njenga, we hear you on that. Very true. Last one, Kevin Yanga. Just imagine that every Kenyan knows this, but they'd rather go out there and be lied to by the politicians. We don't even have copies of the BBI. Tutaisoma aje? Okay, Kev, I hear you. Keep them coming in at I am Jeff Mote or at K24 TV. As we move this conversation forward and look at the state of the nation this week, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko will be a guest of the state at Gigiri Police Station for another 5 days. Sonko was sent back to detention at Gigiri after Kahawa Court noted that it would make a final ruling on whether the ex-governor would be sent to committee for detention for another 30 days over terror charges. K24's Franklin Wala had this story.
Okay,
apologies for that. We'll try and get the correct audio as far as that's concerned. And this is a story very many people have been talking about, saying that the wars that we have faced have actually come from the governor himself. Had he told the party line, so to speak, we probably wouldn't be seeing what you're seeing right now.
Sonko's rise and fall is based on impunity. You know, Sonko is a house built on impunity. So when impunity crumbles down, it falls on you, sadly. He was made by those who made him, and they're the ones who are trying to destroy him, sadly. Because other than giving people a packet of flour and money here and there, he has no idea, you know, no ideology, you see. And such acts, because you give me a packet of flour or money, doesn't make you a leader. You can best work with the Red Cross because you're a philanthropist, you know. At the end of the day, we need to raise the threshold for leadership in Kenya, because we elect certain individuals that are not even fit for office. They also get their clearances courtesy of dubious means. I remember very well when Otiende Omolo, the MP right now, when he was head of the Ombudsman, he said something. He listed a number of people who should not get cleared or clearances before they ran for office. Sonko was one of them. But you remember Sonko's clearance came from, he went to pick it at State House. That tells you something. Somebody built him, and now he has to be destroyed. At the end of the day, I don't support what is happening to him. Because you see, the law, yes, the law has to be followed. But you see, they should follow the law to the letter. They should not weaponize it or try to, you know, to circumvent the law or actually not follow the due process. If at all the charges are genuine, then let the law take its course. But if it's a political witch hunt, at the end of the day, it's sad. It's sad reality, but that's where we are right now. Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that he got his clearance all the way from the house on the hill, because what does that say then in terms of the leadership? Because like I said, and even from the tweets that we're seeing, the buck has to stop somewhere, and that's where it stops. This is a person from your party who had clearly issues even during you know, getting his ticket for the party. And Sonko has been pretty consistent in character. He didn't get into office and then changed.
Exactly.
Also what he was from MP of Makadara to Senator of Nairobi to the governor as well. So what does that even say about the leadership at the very top?
You remember the president said, I put him on that seat. I did that. So the first step to see that is clearances from State House. I would never get mine from there, neither would you see. So that means somebody made him, you see. And that's the problem. Once you're made by an individual, he or she expects you to subscribe to their thinking. So once you don't, then they'll be held to pay. That is what is happening to Sonko. You see, like I said, our political parties are owned by individuals. These people we elect to office, like when they get there, they lose their own thinking capacity. So they think according to party lines. And that is why when you don't toe the party line, you're called a rebel, you're a mole, and you don't respect the party leader. Once you're in office, your duty is to serve Kenyans. Once you serve your party leader, is why we see people fighting in Kisii. Because they are trying to endear themselves to they subscribe so-called kingpin or party leader, so they gain favor. forgetting that their duty is to serve Kenyans. So I believe the problem we're having is that there's a bad attitude. It starts from the voter. And you know, they say a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. So we as the voters need to change the way we think. Don't elect any Tom, Dick and Harry because of packet of flour or money. Listen to their ideas. Most of these people don't have ideas. And that is why they are now running to try and class you into ethnicity and into class. Because once they do that, they weaponize that. They weaponize your emotions. And once they do that, they get to endear themselves to you. Remembering that they will never sell any idea to you because they lack no idea.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we are going to suffer because no service will be delivered to us at the end of the day.
You've spoken about something that was also part of the news cycle this week, and what is the political narrative of the hustlers and the dynasties, a conversation going there. Do you think that's also a way of classifying? You've said before it was on tribe, now it's on class. Is that what you feel is happening?
Exactly. We have those who championing for ethnic balkanization, then we have that class. You see, both of those things are rubbish at the end of the day because there is no idea. Nobody's talking about economic recovery. No one is talking about the jobs for the youth. No one is talking about taking Kenya from here to the next level. When you tell me bottom up, what is bottom up? Tell me economy bottom up. When you tell me about it's time for another community, Kiti Kizunguke, that doesn't make sense. You see, the challenge we have with that, we have leaders who are not visionaries, are not selfless, are not patriotic. Jeff, if we had a president who loved Kenya more than he loves himself or she loves herself, Kenya would be a better place. These things we're talking about, we don't have leaders who are selfless and they have no vision. Vision 2030 is just on paper. For you to achieve that, you need to put the country first. And that is why I'm saying, in electing leaders, elect people who love Kenya more than they love themselves because they will work to make Kenya work. If Kenya and institutions are working, you don't have to go to a politician to seek certain favors that we seek because the channels will be okay. I will get whatever I want. So at the end of the day, the voter needs to think. We need to raise the integrity and leadership threshold in Kenya so that we only elect people who are there for service delivery. And these clowns and Tom, Dick and Harry who just go there for selfish gains, we need to put them aside.
Right.
Because if I bribe you, for example, with 500 shillings, that means I am spending money. If I get into office, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Recover what I've spent. So we need to move from that politics. I know it is hard. It won't happen in, overnight. We need to move from politics of being bribed to vote, of flour being distributed, and this politics of ethnic and class nonsense, and move to ideas. That is the only way forward. And the youth need to take part in this, because at the end of the day, the future is for the young.
Right.
And you're being told you're leaders of tomorrow. I don't agree with that. I believe we're leaders of today and tomorrow, because there is no today without tomorrow. So if you don't make your today right, tomorrow will never come.
But when you say that they need to get out of this particular conversation of, hustlers and dynasties and class, but therein is a problem, because whether it's the youth or even the older generation, in terms of inequality, it's an issue right there. It has been said severally across the political divide. How do you speak to that issue and try and bridge this gap so that as a young person, wherever I am in this country, from whatever class I am, I feel that I still have an equal chance or an equitable chance to get my dream and do whatever I want to do? Because the hustler dynasty narrative really is about that.
You see, the challenge we have right now in Kenya is that the young people are suffering since independence. Like we say, joblessness and what have you. Now, for that to change, we don't need a narrative, ethnic narrative or a class narrative. You see, the challenges we have can be sought at policy level. You see, at how we formulate our laws. When a young man finishes school at 23, 24 years, looking for a job, when you're told you need 5 years experience, or you're supposed to be born with the experience. You see, those are the things we need to change. And you can only change that if you are on that table. So what do I mean? The problem with Kenya is that we have, you see, our politics is weird. You can't be elected unless you have money. So the young men and women who have ideas of how they want Kenya to move forward are afraid of seeking elective office. That is how you start changing your issues. You have to get into office to change that. Because from outside, you'll rant on Twitter and Instagram. They rarely even check that. And if they check, they're like, they'll get tired. So if we want to change, because I believe it's time the young men and women in this country offer alternative leadership. The ethnic leadership and this class leadership that we are seeing is not fit for Kenya. We are talking about being the 21st century. How we want to move from a middle income to a first world country with nonsense issues of ethnicity and class politics. The young men and women in this country need to offer alternative leadership. And alternative leadership is different from what you've been accustomed to. Like I'm talking about, be patriotic enough have a vision, and be selfless. Serve Kenya. You know, when you serve Kenya, Jeff, things will open up.
Right.
But if we leave it to these people, I will tell you for free, none of them have any ideas. These people are there courtesy of, most of them came via Moi, right? Mm-hmm. And then now you see when people talk about youth getting into office, they say, are the youth ready for office? When Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, Ruto right now, Uhuru, and most of these guys, when they came into office, were they not young? But now, because these people will never want to leave office, and you know they'll never leave it to you, like the president said, they will never leave to you. You have to sacrifice to get there. You need to try, because at the end of the day, the laws that are made will affect you. It's people on borrowed time. They will leave, but you have your time, like I said, you have the advantage of time.
Right.
So if you don't seek elective office, you will never change anything in Kenya, because these policies that are being passed left, right, and center are going to hurt you. And if you think, if you're a young man out there or a young lady and you think politics is boring, wait until life gets hard. Then you realize bad choices have consequences.
That's something we have had severally, even as a country, in terms of choices having consequences on that. Do we have the correct story as far as Governor Sonko is concerned?
Directed that we appear at 12:30.
Absolute good faith on the part of the state.
It was a battle of the most respected jurists in the country.
This is a governor.
All on a mission to rescue the embattled former city boss Mike Mbuvi Sonko, who was staring at the gates of Committee Maximum Prison. Sonko had been presented before Chief Magistrate Diana Kaveza on terror-related charges.
And the right of the arrested person to be released on bail must not be restricted under Article 21 of the Constitution, and when interpreting our Constitution under Article 259.
The defense putting the prosecution to task on why they wanted the former city chief in committee for the next 30 days to finalize on investigations. An application that the defense lawyers opposed vehemently, with the court noting that it will make a ruling on whether the ex-governor will be sent to committee come Tuesday the 9th. This ruling will, however, only take place after the Kiambu court has finalized on Sonko's bail application the same Tuesday over charges of robbery with violence.
The matter is pushed to Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Earlier in the day, before Sonko was presented at the Kahawa court, a ruling on whether to have him released on bail at Kiambu court was postponed till Tuesday, with the magistrate saying the verdict was not ready. For now, Sonko will remain in custody at Gigiri police station until Tuesday next week, when his fate will be known. Franklin Wala, K24.
That's the trials of former governor of Nairobi, Mike Mbuvi Sonko. As we see this particular story play out, and very many people said it was high time something needed to be done. We'll wait and see what happens in the corridors of justice. But in as far as the administration of the county of Nairobi is concerned, a lot has taken place, a lot of precedents being set. What's your assessment on the process so far? Do you feel this is what we needed now to get a more efficient and better run city?
First and foremost, what is happening in Nairobi is unfortunate, because you see the law is not followed. One, you have no governor, no deputy governor, and the laws are clear. One, IBC gazettes names, rather the by-election is set, gazettement of names. You have an acting governor. The process for election has started. By-election has started. Where you come around and start saying that there was a deputy governor. That's where the problem lies. You see, the problem in Kenya is not even, like I say, it's not the constitution. When you want to amend a constitution that you have not even followed, that is funny on all levels. You don't follow the laws in Kenya. That is the problem. So what has happened in Nairobi, you know, when you look at the County Government Act, there's a procedure. One, if there is no substantive governor or deputy governor, we go for a by-election once there's an acting governor. Now, you want to tell me that Kananu assumes office as deputy governor? Who gives the seal of approval for that? There is no governor. So that's impunity, you see. And the sad thing is that this is a bad precedent. It can happen anywhere else. If I don't like Jeff and you're a governor, I take you out. The president is on record saying that he sponsored the ouster. That shows you, like I said, our leaders elected have no mind of their own, because that should come straight from the county assembly. They should decide on that, not from the party leader, you see. Because an impeachment should be on merit. And that is the question the LSK is in court asking. Was the impeachment of Sonko, was it legal? Was it on merit? You see, yes, there might be issues here and there. But why do you have to follow a call from up the party chain? That is a problem, because now, once that happens, you open a wrong precedent. It can happen anywhere. And this is Nairobi now. If people will say if it can happen in Nairobi, it can happen in Machakos, it can happen anywhere at the end of the day. So I believe Nairobi, personally, according to me, Nairobi should have gone for a by-election.
Right.
That was the best thing, because at the end of the day, the people should elect their leaders. The leaders should not be cooked in a room and served on a table for you to eat. They should emanate from the leaders, from the people, so that once the person you've elected doesn't serve, then you feel the choice you made. But
there's something interesting you've brought in there in terms of the members of parliament or representatives and where their loyalties should lie.
Yeah.
When you look at that case in point, because you have a scenario where you're saying the people should decide, but this particular person who's coming into office is coming into office under a certain political party.
Yeah.
Where should this particular representative's party lie? With the people or towing the party line? If we're told today we are coming to impeach Nordin as a party,
yeah,
should I be going to my constituency or following what the party leaders have said?
Now, you see, when you look at the functions of these leaders, there is nowhere in the constitution that are told to your function is to observe and follow your party line. You see, you are there for an honorable member, let's say, of parliament or governor or whatever, you're there for service delivery. That is why when they launched the manifesto, it's not called ODM manifesto or Jubilee manifesto. It's your manifesto for the people. So you're coming to work for the people. Now, the challenge, like I said, is one. The fact that you have a party ticket and our parties are not institutions. You see, that is why when the party leader either retires or dies, that is the end of that party. That is the challenge. Because once the party leader wants you to think in a certain way and you don't, then there is hell to pay. And our leaders, like I said, they're not selfless enough, they're not patriotic, and that is why they just follow what they're being told to follow. And then the moment you wake up and decide, hey, by the way, I want to think in a certain different way, that is when you start paying the price. So I believe, like I said, our political class and our political scene needs a radical change.
But how do you do that? Because everyone says we need to do that, and the big question is how?
The first step in any change, like I said, there's a bad attitude. The first step of changing our political scene is at the voter. Because we elect these people. Because bad and good leaders are elected by us. So if we stop electing the clowns we have right now, then Kenya would go places. You know? Because at the end of the... Imagine a country like Kenya, we take pride being in the... We take pride in the 21st century, and we import food stuff from Tanzania and what have you. And with all the land we have in Kenya at the end of the day, you see, that shows you the lack of leadership we have in this country. Because the people we have are not serving Kenyans. They are not serving Kenyans. It is all about personal interest. And that is why right now, 2021, everyone is thinking about their next step. No one is thinking about you. And that is why, like I said, once the referendum campaign begins, that is the end of any work that is meant to be done in Kenya. Because politicians live to politic. That is the problem. We don't have leaders. You know, there's a difference between a leader and a politician. Kenya have politicians. We don't have leaders.
Right.
Because a leader is a visionary person, is a patriotic person. And if at all they are watching and they don't know what a leader is, I'll send them to do some homework on Thomas Sankara. That is a leader. Right now, MCs are talking about a car grant. Can you imagine 4.3 billion for car grants at the end of the day? A Kenyan who's unemployed, who's sleeping hungry, with no job, watches or listens to that. I was looking at this daily, and I'm seeing 330 million lost in the sports ministry. You see, you wake up every day. Now the word million and billion is synonymous with Kenyans, because at the end of the day, money is lost every day. 2 billion is lost every day. And Kenyans are suffering. So at the end of the day, we need to change how things are done in Kenya. It's not easy, Jeff. I know for a fact. It won't happen overnight. But Kenyans need to get to a point where they say, enough is enough. I am tired, and I need things to change. That is the only way we'll change. Because politicians will never change. They are the same monkeys in different forests. They only change parties, but the person remains the same. If a person is only there courtesy of his ethnic arithmetic, that will never change. That will be his politics. If a person is there because of his class arithmetic or the way he likes to place his politics, he'll never change. But we can change. You and I can. The young people can change. Because at the end of the day, a Kamau or Otieno who are young will watch a Manchester versus Liverpool game together, have fun. But when politics comes, or rather when an election comes, that is when they're remembered by their purported kingpin that, oh, by the way, you're a Luo. so you have to vote this way, or you're a Kikuyu vote. That is rubbish at the end of the day.
Right.
Because my vote should be my own decision. What are you telling me? What can you do? And for me, I believe none of these people is the solution.
You've also mentioned about corruption, which has been a big issue. This week, we had the Solicitor General giving his advisory as far as payment for the COVID-19 tenders are concerned. And it came out across that even if there were irregularities on how this was done, the law has to be followed and the suppliers need to be paid. And it's coming to the tune of probably over 6 billion Kenya shillings that will be paid in this particular regard. What was your assessment of that story this week?
How do you say just because they supply, they need to be paid? Was the law followed in them supplying, first and foremost? If at all the law wasn't followed, it's an illegality. Why make the payment? Because if the process, you know, like Maraga said, an election is not an event, it's a process. If the process is faulty, there's no event at the end of the day. So why pay them if at all from the beginning there's an illegality? There's no, you don't need to pay anything.
Right.
Yeah, they should actually tell us how they got those the LPUs and why did they supply. If the law wasn't followed, you know, then if the procurement process was faulty, what are you paying for?
But what makes it so hard, even as a lawyer, what makes it so hard in terms of, you know, getting to these economic crimes, getting to the bottom of it, finding who did what, and at the end of the day recovering these assets? Because it's a story we've had for quite a while. There's no shortage of scandals that come up after the other, and you never seem to quite get to the end of it. Why is that from a legal perspective?
The problem is our corruption is, you know, there's no goodwill from the top. If at all we have leaders with goodwill to fight corruption, corruption would end. Kenya is a very rich country. Without corruption, imagine if right now with all that has been stolen, Kenya is still there. If without corruption, we would be far. So at the end of the day, the goodwill from the leaders is what really matters. Without any goodwill, these corruption cases will be just a PR exercise. Kamata ao, take them there, release them, bring new fellas, because we have weaponized the one corruption. The one graft is weaponized at the end of the day. It depends on your alignment. Where are you? As Nurdin, if you're on a different wing from where the powers that be are, oh, you'll be in court. The court will be your next bedroom. You'll be there every single day. You'll be like Sonko. Today you come to court, there is a new charge. That's how things are, sadly. So we need to change how we do things, and the law needs to be followed. Because the law is not followed in Kenya. We have one of the most forward-thinking constitutions in this land, or globally. And the problem is it's never followed. You know, you're being told when a court process should be free and fair at the end of the day. A fair hearing, you deserve that. But if it's not fair, what's that?
Right.
You know, it doesn't make sense at the end of the day. So when you weaponize the own graft, you will never solve graft. You will just be kamataing people on Friday, taking them somewhere, they come out on bail. And you know, Kenyans, we are forgetful. That case will just come out of somewhere, it will just be thrown under the table and it will end. So if at all our systems work, because they don't, and if at all we can make the judiciary, leave it to be independent, because the CJ left saying how they have tried and it's a tall order. If the judiciary can be left to manage itself and be independent, fund it properly, appointment of judges and whatnot, Kenya would be far. Because a lawless country, there's no country in a lawless country. We need to follow the law at the end of the day. That is the only way we'll move forward.
But you have a president who has said he's funded all of these institutions in terms of the DCI, additional resources, the DPP's office as well, has called in even the intelligence service at one point to actually unearth these particular problems. Yeah. And he was also on record saying, what else do you want me to do? I can only give them, I can't go and prosecute a case. I can't go and get Nordin to court. This is what I'm doing, but we are still not getting these big fish being brought in.
That's actually funny because, you know, that shows failure on his part. But anyway, aside from that, the DCI talks about the problem between him and the ODPP. He says they investigate, they send the files to the ODPP, and the ODPP never prosecute those cases and whatnot. Now you see, the problem is a case is won before going to court. If your evidence is faulty, it goes nowhere. You can arraign 32 people there with nothing. If your investigation process is faulty, because you see, the magistrate or the judge, when a case comes before you, it's not what the magistrate or the judge knows or what is being printed in the media. It is what is presented before you. So if what is presented before you is shoddy, let's say you've accused me, and when you go to court, you have no evidence. You're never going to win that case. So it starts from the investigation. And you know, our investigation is weird because, like I said, there's corruption. How many times, or rather, the investigating authorities, who knows Maybe they are compromised, most of them. You never know. Because if at all, you know, money was stolen from point A and B, you want to tell me people can't find that?
Right.
You can. But now, when, like I said, when you weaponize corruption, and then our institutions are not independent, that is the challenge we face. And that will never change until we change how things are done in Kenya.
Okay, you know what, I think we'll leave it as far as that's concerned at that particular point in time. Thank you so much for making time to be on the show. I don't know that it's still good to say Happy New Year, Imezeka.
We can still say it.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thanks for being on the show. Asante sana.
Thanks for having me.
And your input as well on this particular session. It's all about just assessing the state of the nation, where it stands at this particular point in time, and more importantly, where it's going. We take a short break. It's a Hangout Friday. Lots in store for you. Don't go too far.